Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. This is part 2 of the driver's press conference in Azerbaijan. Uh, we have quite of interesting people in front of us, so let's listen to them. What they're going to say. It's going to be interesting.
Conference here in Baku, and as you can see, we're joined by Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, and Daniel Ricciardo. Now, Fernando, can we start with you, because the news this week has been a lot about Aston Martin and the arrival next year of Adrian Newey. You've had a few days to look at all the press cuttings. Just what is your view of what's happening at Aston Martin at the minute? How crucial is Adrian Newey to the team?
Well, it has been a positive week for sure for the team with the announcement, and yeah, he's a great addition to the team. And probably, for me, what I think is that the Aston Martin team is the team of the future in a way. We are just opening new buildings at the factory, the campus. Building 2 is finished. Wind tunnel will be January. Honda, Aramco, best partner in the world probably, and now Adrian as well. So yeah, I think the team is taking shape, and Laurent's vision is taking shape. So yeah, good news this week.
Almost every team on the grid wanted Adrian. How involved did you get in luring him to Aston Martin?
What a question for him. I text him for sure, and like everybody did probably, that I wanted to work with him, and yeah, I saw him also at the Monaco historic Grand Prix that he was racing that week as well, and we spent half an hour chatting as well. And I don't know, I mean, we all tried to persuade him, and I think ultimately, I think Lawrence, and as I said, his vision, the new factory, and what Aston Martin wants for the future, together with Honda as well, were probably key factors, listening to what Adrian said yesterday.
Now, he starts in March next year, and the focus is 2026. Do you think he can have an influence on 25 as well?
I don't think so. I would like to say yes, but honestly, I don't think so. March 25, I think the focus for most of the teams will be 26 project and change of regulations. You start in March until everybody, and you take place in the factories April or May, and I don't think that is really worth spending too much in the 25 campaign unless you are fighting for the championship, which I hope we have a nice surprise, but I doubt it. So I think the 26 project should be the first car that he has an influence.
Whoa, that's a really big announcement from Fernando Alonso. As we know, he is involved in every detail in Aston Martin, whatever happens in the factory, whatever happens with the team, and everything else. So he said, even though we have Adrian Newey, he won't be having an impact in 2025. So we didn't take him on the team, or we didn't lure him into the team for 2025, because we are not gonna fight for 2025. I doubt about it. But for 2026, absolutely, we're gonna be in top 3 or top 5, maybe. Who knows? Aston Martin and Lawrence have big plans. We just have to wait and see, everyone. Let's continue.
Final one from me, Fernando. Let's just bring it on to this weekend. Baku was a good race for the team last year. What are your hopes coming into this one?
Let's see. I think every race, it seems a little bit different, and at the midfield everything is so tight that 1 or 2 tenths can make a huge difference, and hopefully Baku is one of those positive weekends for us. Last year it was a sprint event, so we only had FP1, and it was a little bit difficult for everybody. Hopefully now with free practices we can fine-tune the car, and let's see.
All right. Best of luck to you. Thank you for now. Daniel, can we come to you next? Both you and Pierre have worked with Adrian Newey. If we could just start on that topic. What does he bring to a team? What advice can you give Fernando? What can Fernando expect?
I don't think I could give much advice to the most experienced guy on the grid. But look, obviously I enjoyed, I've spoken it before, I enjoyed a lot of my time with him. And it was just even like a privilege to, when I joined Rebel Racing in 2014, just to drive one of his cars, work alongside him. And it's not obviously his level of expertise in his field, and I will normally just feed back things. It's not that I can stand toe to toe with him and speak his language, if you know what I mean. But it was just to try and obviously collaborate in those years and give what I could, and then let him obviously work his magic. That was just a cool, very, very cool experience. Walking past the office, seeing the drawings and everything. It's not for show. He's there with pen on paper and just I'd say very unique but very special way of working. And from that, it was just obviously a pleasure and a privilege. And obviously I don't need to give Fernando any advice, but I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable experience.
All right, thank you. And what about this weekend? You've got the new floor on the car. What are you expecting?
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. It's I'm looking forward to driving here again. I didn't do this one last year, so it's another circuit that I'm just keen for. It's a race as well that can throw anything up in the mix. So it's one where I think, especially us, maybe in that midfield battle, it's one where we can hold on to maybe some optimism that you can get maybe a bit of a special result on a circuit like this, and as the race plays out as it normally does. So look, first and foremost, the updates, try and get those going tomorrow, get into the circuit, kind of feel it again, and hopefully we're in a good spot then by Sunday afternoon.
All right, best of luck to you as well. Pierre, can I start on Adrian as well? Is it true that he speaks a driver's language?
Yeah, it is true. I mean, it was very special 6 months working with him. Very similar comments to Daniel. Obviously, he got the chance to work for much longer time, but he's one of the most successful car designer in our sport, and he's got a very unique way of approaching racing, approaching design. Because similar to Daniel, I walk in the factory and see him in front of his board drawing all sort of stuff, which I could not even tell what was really going on there. But ultimately, it just seems to work when it gets to the track. And very humble person, which I liked on a personal level. I always had great talks with him, and always accessible, which was very enjoyable for the time we had working together.
All right, thank you. And what about Alpine then? It's been a frustrating couple of races for you since the summer break. What are you expecting here? Can it be better?
You're being tough. You're being tough because Zandvoort was actually really good for us. We were top of the midfield. Last race was it was definitely more disappointing and more difficult in Monza, which we knew historically doesn't really suit our package. And objectively, Baku is another one where last year was also very tough. So we're coming with a humble approach. We have the similar car than we had in Monza, and we know on paper doesn't look like an easy weekend, but as Daniel said, it's one of these races where everything can happen, can be thrown in a good spot at any moment, and hopefully we'll be able to capitalize any opportunities that opens up here.
All right, best of luck to you. Sorry for being harsh. Right, let's open this to the floor. Broadcasters first.
Harry Benjamin, Sky Sports F1. Question to Fernando, please. Fernando, I just wanted to get your opinion on the McLaren team orders saga that's currently going on at the moment. You yourself know very well team orders being enforced and not being enforced can be quite detrimental, losing out on titles. You also know Andrea Stella very well. Do you think McLaren should have introduced team orders and the backing of one driver over another sooner than they have apparently done so ahead of this weekend?
No idea. Yeah.
Not going to be drawn on that. All right. Any more questions from broadcasters? Yes. Yes. No. Yes.
Sorry. Margot Lafitte, Canal+, to Fernando and Daniel, and Pierre is because we already have the answer in French. Talking about vision and visibility in an F1 car, we're doing a footage on that. Can you talk us through what you can see, what maybe can disturb you in a Formula One, and the importance you give to your visual comfort in an F1 car?
Fernando, let's start with you.
Good question. I mean, we see maybe less than the onboard camera shows sometimes. I think we are sitting on a lower position. And yeah, we focus so much on things quite far away that, maybe it doesn't seem that obvious from outside. The car, is very fast, obviously, and you approach things in a very fast rate. So we are looking sometimes, 300 meters, 400 meters away from us, because in 0.2 of a second we will be there. So that's the focus we have. And for that kind of vision, I think we see enough from the car. Obviously, we don't see things that are close to us. Even the Starbucks on Sunday is difficult for us. Pit stops are a little bit of a guess as well, because we don't have the exact point of where the front wing stands or the tires sometimes. But yeah, I think it's not very, very important, visibility in Formula One, as sometimes less you see, faster you are.
Maybe wrong, but I'm gonna say this: the moment you have good reflexes, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. The moment you have extreme reflexes, then you can say that you are an F1 driver. So if you don't have extreme reflexes, nothing, visibility, things that you can see or hear or whatever, nothing. The car goes 360 kilometers per hour. It turns one way and your body wants to go the other way. So it has a G-force of G5 or G6. Maybe sometimes you get a G6 and a half. So that's a lot to take. So the moment you get into F1 car, I don't know personally, but I have seen a lot of interviews like this one from the drivers, how they explain the feeling that they have or the experience that they have with F1 cars. You need to be prepared mentally, physically, and you need to be in a very healthy condition. So even if you are like an inch bulkier, you're done. You're done. 100 grams more on the car goes slower. So it has precise measurements, and then you have to be in a precise state with your body and everything. So extreme reflexes. That's it.
Okay. Daniel, how about you?
Yeah, I think look, Fernando touched on a lot of the points. I think it's always been tricky I think naturally the speeds we go, yes, we are always looking ahead, and it's kind of the way you piece the lap together as well. By the time you get to one corner, you're already looking at the next and setting the car up for the next. So you don't necessarily need to see what's immediately in front of you, 5 meters in front of you. But some situations it is tricky. And Fernando touched on a very simple one, but lining up in the grid box at the start, we actually don't see. Obviously, we see the grid box maybe when it's, 10 meters in front of us, 5-10 meters. But then when we get close, it's just a judge. We're just trying to guess where it is. So some simple things are actually quite difficult. And it has become a bit more difficult, I would say, with this style car. So the bigger tires, the ride height, the car is a bit more flat. Therefore, it's kind of as if the nose is lifted. So then with a ride height that, kind of lifts us up from the rear and we're looking down more. This is now flatter. So yeah, we lose probably another little bit in front of us. But yeah, it's, as I say, it's more the little things. I think at speed, either it doesn't matter too much or we're just used to it. But yeah, grid box, pit stops, some little things can be tricky. And then, yeah, I mean, the mirrors, we do the best with what we got, but naturally there are, some blind spots at times. But then, yeah, obviously we use our judgment and spatial awareness the best way we can. But yeah, I think what's overwhelming probably to some is if they were to just sit in the car, I think they'll be like, how do you see? Because you're so used to seeing everything around you and you simply don't. So that in itself, I remember when I went from go-karts to a Formula car, that was the biggest difficulty, was just trying to know, okay, whereabouts is the curb? I don't see the curb, so I have to figure out, from a feeling. And yeah, that stuff it takes a bit to get used to.
Wow. Now, the last question was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I liked it. I don't have much to say. The recap, Adrian Newey is the hot topic. He's going to Aston Martin. It's going to start in 2025, March of 2025. But as Fernando said, it won't have a lot of impact on the car because they are not concentrated on 2025. They are concentrated in 2026. Even though Newey will work around the car in 2025. That's for sure. But he won't be the key point for 2025. So yeah, all the teams are getting ready for 2026. So 2025, it's going to be a really interesting battle, but also it's going to be a battle for the teams, for the engineers to develop a car with the new rules of FIA. Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching this video with us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. If you have something to add up, comment down below. We will discuss it together and I'll see you in the next one.